Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Doctor Who reviews. This is episode number 35. Yes, 35. And this one, I'm viewing a story from the Patrick Schreiner. It's technically his 5th ever story ever released. Now, it's in the first season of the show. Yep, and with this one, it's also the... Fun fact, this is also the 34th ever serial released. Which one is it? Let me clean up the front here. The Macra. Yep. Released in 1967, this one. It's only 4 parts. Like, okay, I mean, pretty simple to go this one, like about an hour and a half-ish. Yes. And here's something about the story that's a common with several of the stories from Patrick Schreiner's era. Like, there's a lot from his era that have this in common. The episodes are missing. So we have an anime restoration for this one. And from what I've read, this was the 7th ever one they ever did. Was this one right here. The Macra is simply these giant claw creatures that are created via the chemicals on a planet that the Dr. Ben... Bless you! Ben, Polly, and Jamie go to. It's just a human colony where it's run by someone called Control. It's sort of like their overseer god. This like the actual person who runs the place is kind of a guy called Pilot. Probably not the Pontius Pilate. Maybe. So, while they're there, they're just basically just being other strangers. They end up basically spending the night. And, like, the doctor apparently just wasn't asleep at this point. So Jamie overhears something that's not exactly correct to hear. So it sounds like a bit strange. So it does affect him very much because he's basically not from the same time period possibly. They proceeds to smash the speaker that's actually over the head of Polly. But it actually did affect Ben to the point where he spends a good majority of the story brainwashed by Control. A guy who's got this face on the screen and doesn't say anything at all. His lips doesn't move. Just basically see just this face on the screen that doesn't smile. And what this thing is not revealed to part 4 exactly what Control actually is. So they spend the whole story trying to convince people about the Macra Terror. Though here's the thing, they never refer to about the Macra Terror by name in the story. Well, not until like part 4. They're just mysterious claw creatures. Like, basically what they are giant crabs. That's simply put what the heck the Macra Terror is. And these are creatures. Now, apparently these creatures also operate at night. Because apparently it was also ruled that no one can go outside at night. Like, that's interesting. Why? Because the Macra Terror basically are active. And apparently they absorb all the gases. Now, what the purpose of these creatures are, not exactly supposed to reveal. Now, pretty much all the companions have seen these creatures, along with a couple of the colonists. Now, the leader, Pilot, he doesn't say until part 4, like, here, let me show you something that's actually forbidden. And he shows it to him. He apparently had no idea what the heck this thing is. It's like, this is what controls my heading? Yeah, it's doing part 4 control. Macra Terror is actually control itself. Yes, and then Macra Terror was stopped, and they become hollow at the very end. And, of course, they lead into the very next story, the Faceless Ones. Yes, that is, believe it or not, the very next story. Yes, the Faceless Ones, the second to last story that was shown for season 4 of the show. Now, with this in particular, with this here, by the way, it's a good story. I got handed to this one. I mainly got this one because I like the Macra Terror story, so I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. And with this particular story, this is basically covering most of Patrick's first year in the show. Like, because he started with this very story here, Power to Dialect. This was his opening story. And then we had Moonbase. Then that one, Macra Terror. Then we got the next one, The Faceless Ones, which also was the final appearance by Polly. And then we end the season off with The Evil of the Dialects. Yeah, this is what we end the season with. Now, even though this did technically start Troutman's Run, this was not the start of season 4. Oh no, it wasn't. It was actually something called The Smugglers. Yes, there actually was about 3 stories Actually, it was 2 stories just prior to this one. One I'm definitely going to get. The only I don't plan to get this one in particular, but I'm planning now. In the case of now, here's the thing: season 4 only has 4 stories at the cover. Yeah, only 4, and that's the Smugglers, the 10th Planet, and Underwater Menace, and of course the Highlanders. The thing with the Highlanders is that this name was Lost, and let me take a quick look here. Okay, so. This one, I'm going to wait to this one until whenever they say an restoration for this one. I really hope so, because basically it's kind of dumb. The fact that this one has not got an restoration. This was also, fun fact, the last purely historical serial for Doctor Who into Black Orchid in the 80s. Yeah. Now, in the case of, well, if you look at it, the second Doctor, well, he's had several stories of his actually restored. Not all of them per se. Doing Abominable Snowman is the next one set to be released in December. Yes, like roughly about a year. Let's see. The last one they released was actually this past February. The Web. Yeah, I'm actually going to be getting that one. Because, yes, I have reviewed it already. But the thing is, I've never seen fully episode 3 because all I've seen is stills. Because originally I watched that one in particular. I only watched like the first episode completely normal. And then the rest of the story just all stills. Which I wasn't particularly happy with it. But in the case of with this restoration, I'm able to actually watch the full complete story. So I'm probably going to get 2 copies of here. One basically containing most of the story that was basically recovered, and the other one basically has the cover story and the revived stuff. Yes. Now, Macra Terror, yes, it was the 7th one they ever did. And you probably think, okay, what was next on the official after they did Macra Terror? Because I said this was the 7th one. And this came out in 2019. Yes, 2019. Actually, let's see. November 2019. So I think possibly next one was, I think it was the Faceless one, because I remember actually getting the Faceless ones. Let's see. The first one I remember purchasing was Power of the Dialects. I actually purchased this one at Walmart's. Yeah, for some reason my local Walmart actually had this one. Like sitting in the show, like, really? A Doctor Who cereal? Awesome, I'll buy it. Now the rest of them I basically purchased online. Mostly. Macra Terror is one of the very few I've gotten via purchasing it at the Barnes & Noble store. They actually sell Doctor Who stories there, and I saw it there. I'm like, cool. This is actually what I really want to get. The one, now, there's still one I've never going to purchase because how purely bad this story is. The Untitled Chapter. The reason why, because not the biggest fan. Am I going to review it? At some point I will, but I'm not purchasing it. No plans to purchase this one. I don't care if the whole thing is recovered. I don't really give a damn about that. I'll just watch it and review. I'll probably do the same thing I did with this one I did with Doctor Who and the DeLoreans. Yes, I'll probably do the same thing with that one. Now, what is my next Doctor Who story I'm going to cover? Well, I'll probably watch it later because I got a couple anime to watch after this video and the following video, which is the Comic Corner. It's going to be The Great Job with Defeated and Baruto, but the next Doctor Who story I'm going to cover is going to be Day of the Dialects. First of 2 straight Dalek stories to cover. Yep. But the Comic Corner will be next, okay? Next video. Bye.